Om. Ishvaraha Paramaha Krishna Satchidananda Vigraha Anadiradir Govinda Sarvakarana Karanam. I render my salutations to the rootless root of all and the causeless cause of all. I place my prostrations at the feet of all the liberated masters. And I render my salutations to the divinity which is inherent and innate in all of us. Thank you very much. And at the outset, I like to extend my heartfelt thanks to the current directors, Srimati Vani Vasudev and Sri Vasudev, for giving me an opportunity to share few of my thoughts and opinions about the topic related to realizing truth from within. My association with Meditation and Study Circle is a long-time association. I remember precisely giving a lecture in Meditation and Study Circle in the year 2000, if I am right. That was my first lecture, and it was on science and spirituality. I was invited and given an opportunity to speak to the audience through the platform by our earlier founder, Mr. S. Krishnamurthy. He was my well-wisher, philosopher, teacher, soul. The other founder director who also helped me a lot on philosophical and spiritual topics. The current directors have been providing n number of opportunities to me through the platform, so I'm grateful to them. Coming to the topic, I like to see the audience platform. Usually, I enjoy giving my lectures on this platform because the audience are learned people and participate in satsangs with keen interest. And all of you, so I think it is very easy for us to connect very fast. Okay, so with this, I begin the satsang. As I said, the topic is realizing truth. Let me ask a question to you at the outset. Are there innumerable problems in the world? Are there innumerable problems in the world currently? Most of you would say yes. I believe, I assume that you say yes. The world is experiencing n number of problems. There are wars, there is violence, there is terrorism, there is oppression of weaker sections, child abuse, and there is population explosion, there is starvation, there is problem of abundance. So, problem related to relationships. There are so many problems. Majority of them are our own making. Agree, these problems are our own making. Most of them are our own making. There's no doubt about it. Outside is a mere reflection of what we. The status outside is a mere reflection of status inside. So please understand, we are basically is being manifested in the outer world. There is conflict inside, there is conflict outside. There is a war which is going on inside, there is a war which is going on outside. There are thoughts related to violence inside, and the violence is being manifested outside. Most of the problems that humanity is facing now has arisen from the mind. Mind is the fertile ground which breeds several problems in its potential form. It is not the holistic mind which generates the problems. It is always the fragmented mind which has scripted the problems. Our consciousness is so fragmented that sense of separation and divisive nature have become dominant in our day-to-day life. We have two brains, analytical brain and integrative brain. Analytical mind is, or analytical brain is, always engaged in analyzing the situation, fragmenting the situation, and trying to understand. This analytical mindset, which is happening because of very active analytical mind or analytical brain that we carry, is responsible for several problems. We cannot approach the problems that we are facing from only outside, because the outside, because in the first place they are present inside. If we approach solving the problems from outside, we are not eliminating the root cause. The root cause to stay there. For time being, you may tinker or within few months or years, the problem manifest, because you have not addressed the root. And until we reach the root problem, and problems that the present world is facing can be solved completely and clearly. The root cause being inside, we need to address it there only in order to bring a radical fundamental change or transformation. So, addressing the root issues or the root causes is so easy, but it is possible, and it is something which has been done many times by our sages and saints. They always used to address the problems at the root level, and they have left a permanent or indelible imprint in the history of humanity. How to solve the issues from the root level? History is replete with such instances. Probably we need to study, we need to adopt, and we need to practice. So to understand the root problems, we need to do something called as root cause analysis. The present day managerial science has a wonderful concept called root cause analysis. There may be several peripheral causes for any particular problem, but all the peripheral causes would have arisen due to one central cause. Address that central cause so that all the peripheral causes are eliminated. When peripheral causes are eliminated, the problem simply disappears into thin air. That means to say, we need to do root cause analysis. After you do root cause analysis for several problems that you are facing in the world as of now, you may be facing, or the humanity may be facing, or the society may be facing. For all these problems, the root cause is avidya. Avidya or ignorance, ajnana. Avidya gives rise to ajnana. Ajnana is ignorance. Ignorance is the root cause. Unless until we address this ignorance, none of the problems can be completely solved. Vedanta wonderfully explains that all our problems are generated because of avidya, which gives rise to ajnana. Ajnana that gives rise to ahankara. And because of ahankara, we are caught with ragas and dvesha, that is attractions and repulsions. So we want certain things and we do not want certain things. That means to say likes and dislikes. These likes and dislikes arise because of ahankara. Ahankara arises because of ajnana. Ajnana comes out of avidya. So if we come from top to bottom, avidya giving rise to ajnana, ajnana giving rise to ahankara, ahankara generating raga and dvesha, or likes and dislikes. Entrapped by likes and dislikes, we engage in lot of karmas. So these karmas will ensnare us and entrap us and result in punarjanma. We come back and again we get caught in avidya. Avidya leads to ajnana, ajnana to ahankara, ahankara to likes and dislikes. And with likes and dislikes, we engage in actions. And these actions always look for some reward. When we get the reward, we are happy. When we don't get the reward, we are unhappy. And we want those things which we like. And we keep away those things which we do not like. And we struggle through our existence, possessing the likes and keeping the dislikes or unlikes at a distance. And in this process, we generate a lot of karmas and we take rebirth and we come back and again a cycle. Punarapi maranam, punarapi jananam. So there is no end to it. So the root cause is ignorance. The ignorance needs to be addressed. Hence, spirituality provides the needed perspective to get out of the rut that we have created for ourselves. What is the rut that we have created? Why are we falling into that rut time and again? Why are we trapped by likes and dislikes? How to get rid of this particular problem that we are facing? In almost every birth, man must know who he is. This is where the ignorance. I do not know my true nature. Man must know who he is. Who am I is the fundamental question which needs to be addressed and which needs to be elaborately understood and realized. One should realize his or her true nature and discern his inner potential. This inner knowledge and wisdom can liberate the man from all his problems. Imagine a world, just imagine. As of now, the world is far away from what I am saying right now. The world is far away. If all the people on the world or in the world realize their true nature and understand that they are nothing but specks of consciousness, and they have descended from the mega flame called as the divine, and they are eternal travelers, and they are not going to carry anything but for their karmas at the time of death. If they understand, if they realize, if they experience that they are just specks of consciousness, just specks of consciousness, and they are on an eternal journey. And the journey is going to be a long-lasting journey. And the goal is to become divine again. If they realize it from within, probably the way they live their lives, the way they behave with the rest of the world, the way they behave with themselves completely changes. Unfortunately, we all intellectually know who we are because we are engaged in satsangs, we listen to satsangs, we participate in satsangs, and we know that we are nothing but souls. Ultimately, we are nothing but specks of consciousness, and we have descended to this plane. We know this intellectually. But have you realized this? Have you realized this from within? From within, any time have you discovered that you are nothing but a soul? The moment such an experience we get, the moment such an experience we undergo, we will totally transform. How can such experience be obtained? Can we seek such an experience which makes us realize inside that we are nothing but souls and that is the ultimate truth? This happens as a person gets into sadhana and explores inside his self. That means to say, we need to enter inside. We need to introspect. We need to move inside. We need to get into our inner being. That's why the Greeks used to say, man, know thyself, thou shalt know the universe. The meaning is, man, know who you are, then you will know the whole universe. You need not have to explore the universe outside using your radio telescopes and your optical telescopes and you need not struggle so much to understand what is this universe. To understand this vast universe, you just jump into your being or yourself. Get inside what is called as the inner journey. Inner journey or inner engineering, as Jaggi Vasudev, Sadguru Jaggi Vasudev says, it's the inner engineering which helps you in self-realization, understanding who you are. If you understand who you are, the way you look at your life, the way you relate to your world, the way you relate to your relatives, the way you relate to rest of the world completely changes. Hence, self-realization is the path. It is the only path. Self-realization is the path for solving all the troubles, all the problems that we are confronted by. There is no other path to go. This is human regeneration. This self-realization is a path which leads to human regeneration. It is an inside-out approach. It is an inside-out approach. As you change from inside, you are able to change the outside. Because what is happening outside is a mere reflection of what is happening inside. Don't blame the world. Blame yourself for all the problems that you are facing in the world, because in the first place, these problems are created by you or by we people. Please understand, self-realization is a unique path. It's a unique path. Everyone has to tread this path sooner or later. It is an inevitable journey. It is an inevitable journey that the eternal pilgrim has to engage in. Everybody should pass through this passage called the passage of self-realization. You may take several lives, some other may take very few lives. It all depends how fast you actually incline to the path of self-realization. We need to become sensitive and ask some fundamental questions to ourselves in order to explore our inner being. Unless and until we ask these questions to ourselves, a serious transformation will never begin. I'm not saying serious transformation will not happen, because that's too far away in objective for us. Not even we begin the path of self-transformation if we don't ask the following questions. They are the crucial questions, or the vital questions, or the pivotal questions, I can say. What are those questions? Who am I? Why am I here? What is life? What is the purpose of life? What is the meaning of death? Who sent me here? Where am I going in this journey? They are very, very insightful questions. How often we place these questions to ourselves and contemplate on these questions? Hardly. We are engaged day in and day out in our mundane activities. We are ensnared by worldly affairs. We are full of worldly thoughts. More or less, we can say, we have traveled through our lives in such a way that we have rarely asked these questions to ourselves. And even if we have asked these questions, we have not seriously contemplated. If we were to seriously contemplate, a lot of change or transformation would have happened. Would have happened. The answers should well up from inside. You may get answers for some of these questions from some books, from some satsangs, but that is a borrowed knowledge. That is a borrowed knowledge. That's not wisdom. Borrowed knowledge cannot lead you too far unless you dig inside yourselves and you start realizing the answers for these questions. The answer should well up from inside, not from outside. Hence, one has to explore inside, not outside. So how do we actually turn inside, introspect, impartially observe, and see what is happening in myself, in my inner being, what is happening, because that has generated all the problems that I'm seeing outside. So we need to turn our attention within. To turn our attention within, we need to unplug ourselves from the outer world and replug ourselves to the inner world. I am using a statement here: unplug from the outer world and replug to the inner world. That means to say you are connected too much with the outer world. Try to actually de-link yourself from the outer world. How is it possible? That's what is sadhana all about. When you unplug yourself from the outer world, slowly your consciousness starts getting into the inner world, because there is no other path to go. There is no other path to go. It has to sink inside, and it will start sinking automatically inside. Delineate yourself from the outer world. This was called by Patanjali as pratyahara. Pratyahara means withdrawing the sense organs from the outer world so that the perceptions are going to be completely stopped. The perceptions are stopped. The sense organs collect the data from the outer world and transmit the data to your cerebral cortex, and the cerebral cortex in the brain will analyze the data and give an interpretation for you. If you withdraw the senses inside, there is no data which is reaching the neocortex. When there is no data reaching the neocortex, firing in the neocortex will reduce, and at one point of time it will stop. The neurons will stop firing. You might have observed sometimes when you are under a lot of tension, when you are engaged in overthinking, and when there is turbulence of emotions, you develop headache. And sometimes the headache is very severe. We call cluster headaches. These cluster headaches are majorly because of the neurons which are firing very seriously, haphazardly in the neocortex. Why it is firing so much? Because you are overthinking. You are over worried. You are too anxious. You are under so much of tension, so much of pressure, so much of confusion. Why all this happened? Because there is so much of data which is reaching your brain, and with the data that you have received, there is so many neurons which are firing haphazardly. So is it possible for you to turn off your sense organs? That's what was called pratyahara by Patanjali. It was said by Patanjali that pratyahara is turning our senses inwards so that the noise in the mind becomes lesser and lesser. Energy begins to flow smoothly within the body. But turning inwards, easier said than done, isn't it? It is the experience of all sadhaks. We try to meditate and we struggle through that process. Every time I sit to meditate, I struggle for few minutes. What few minutes? Many times, maybe 10, 15, 20, 25 minutes. I keep struggling with my thoughts. Ultimately, for 5 or 10 minutes, I rest in a little bit of silence and I say my meditation is over. In fact, when I sit to meditate, I struggle more with my thoughts rather than when I'm doing something else. Why it happens? It happens because we are conditioned to live under the influence of thoughts and emotions. We are not human beings. I remember one author writing in his book, we are thinking beings. We are not human beings, we are thinking beings. Because day in and day out, we keep thinking. Thoughts keep passing through our mind all the time. All the time. There's a train of thoughts. There's a flow of incessant thoughts, isn't it? These thoughts create so much of ruffle inside. Patanjali said it's not possible to practice pratyahara straight away. That's why he gave Ashtanga Yoga Marga, where he says Yama, Niyama, Asana, Pranayama, Pratyahara, Dharana, Dhyana, Samadhi. There are 8 limbs to what he said. Means 8 steps to what he said. Without practicing Yama, Niyama, Asana, Pranayama, at least to some extent, Pratyahara is not possible. Pratyahara is withdrawing our sensory perception and remaining blind to whatever is happening in the outer world and isolating myself from the outer world for a few minutes. Once you practice isolating yourself from the external world for a few minutes, gradually this practice becomes so deep, it gets so deep into yourself that probably your life changes. And it changes in such a way that day in and day out, let anything keeps happening outside, your reaction to it is almost nil. But you are responding to it, you are not reacting to it. You respond. There is a whole lot of difference between a response and a reaction. Reaction is something which is overwhelming. It overwhelms your being. Whereas response is something which is harmonious and it keeps you calm and cool. And you're responding to the situation. You're not running away from the situation, but your inner being is facing the situation with all that serenity or with all that calm and composed attitude. This is what is pratyahara all about. To reach the pratyahara, you need to pass through the first few limbs called yama, niyama, asana, pranayama, and then comes pratyahara. Okay, so please give me 1 minute time. I'm going to share some slides with you people. Okay. Mr. Vasu, can you give me the sharing privilege?
ಇದೆ ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಆಗ್ಲೇ. You have it.
ಇದೆ, ಬಟ್ ಕ್ಲಿಕ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಿದ್ದೀನಿ, ಅದು ಓಪನ್ ಆಗ್ತಿಲ್ವಲ್ಲ.
What are you clicking? I can help you.
Choose what to share ಅಂತ ಇದೆಯಲ್ಲ ಇಲ್ಲಿ, ಅದನ್ನ ಕ್ಲಿಕ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಿದ್ದೀನಿ. ಓಕೆ, ಈಗ ಬಂತ?
ಇಲ್ಲ, ನಾಟ್ ಯೆಟ್. ಶೇರ್ ಅಂತ ಕ್ಲಿಕ್ ಮಾಡಿ.
ಶೇರ್ ಅಂದ್ಮೇಲೆ ಓಪನ್ ಚೂಸ್ ಎಂಟೈರ್ ವಿಂಡೋ.
ಶೇರ್ ಆದ್ಮೇಲೆ ಏನಿದೆ? ವಾಟ್ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಯು ಚೋಸನ್?
ಈಗ ಆಕ್ಚುಲಿ ಏನಾಯ್ತು ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ, ನಾನು ಈಗ ಓಪನ್ ಬರ್ಬೇಕಾ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಚೂಸ್ ವಾಟ್ ಟು ಶೇರ್ ಅಂತ ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟ್ ಆಗ್ತಿದೆ. ಕೆಳಗೆ ಶೇರ್ ಕ್ಯಾನ್ಸಲ್
ಮೇಲೆ ಚೂಸ್ ಎಂಟೈರ್ ಸ್ಕ್ರೀನ್.
ಓಕೆ ಓಕೆ ಓಕೆ.
3 ಟ್ಯಾಬ್ ಇದೆ: ಕ್ರೋಮ್ ಟ್ಯಾಬ್, ವಿಂಡೋ ಅಂಡ್ ಎಂಟೈರ್ ಸ್ಕ್ರೀನ್. ಎಂಟೈರ್ ಸ್ಕ್ರೀನ್ ಕ್ಲಿಕ್ ಮಾಡಿ.
ಕ್ಲಿಕ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದೀನಿ.
ಅದ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಮಧ್ಯದಲ್ಲಿ ವಿಂಡೋ ಇನ್ಸೈಡ್ ವಿಂಡೋ ಇನ್ಫಿನಿಟಿ ಮಿರರ್ ಬರುತ್ತೆ.
ವಿಂಡೋಲ್ಲಿ
ಅದು ಸೆಂಟ್ರಲ್ ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್ ಕ್ಲಿಕ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಶೇರ್ ಹೋಗುತ್ತೆ. You will get an infinity mirror.
Yeah, bantu. Bantu. Okay.
Yeah.
So is my slide ready?
So, click on hide next to stop sharing.
I'll go to entire screen.
No, 1 minute. Click on hide below.
Hide, is it? Okay. Right.
Okay. Now you get into slideshow mode. Yeah, you're ready. Yes.
Is it there? Is it projected now?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So, experiencing the truth within is possible only through meditation. That is why most of the spiritual schools consider meditation as a prime tool for self-realization. And I'm here projecting a person by name Li Ching Yuan. You can see the image of this person. He lived from 1677 to 1933. He lived for 256 years. How he could live so long? This is a record in the human history, to the best of my knowledge. He lived for 256 years, and he was a herbalist, a Chinese herbalist, if I am right. He used to consume a lot of herbs. His life was very simple. He kept himself happy always, and he was regularly meditating. What prevents us from living long, healthy, and productive like that person? See, living long is not always necessarily good unless you have a fair degree of health. Living long but healthy is very important. Then the life becomes productive and there are no regrets in life. What prevents us from living for such a long time productively and healthily? Our own thoughts, our own beliefs, notions, conjectures, idiosyncrasies. We live mostly in our Dehatma. Dehatma means the physical body, the emotional body, and the mental body. We live only in these 3 koshas, what we call Annamaya, Pranamaya, Manomaya kosha. We hardly ascend above. Our consciousness is stuck in these lower worlds. Thoughts and emotions are the major impediments for our consciousness to raise. I remember the words of Jiddu Krishnamurti. He once said, thoughts cannot solve any problem because thought itself is the problem. You try to solve the problems through your thoughts. Please understand, thoughts cannot solve the problem because the thought itself is the problem. That means to say, silence is the answer for all problems. Probably that's a better way to deal with several things. Why meditation? I said meditation is a potent tool for self-spiritualization, for self-realization. Because meditation is considered as the best medication in modern medicine. That's why there is a statement, stop medication and start meditation. Patanjali said 8 limbs for his Ashtanga Yoga Pata. Yama and Niyama, the first thing to be followed. Do's and don'ts of life. What should be done? What should not be done? Asana, resting or sitting in relaxed posture. Unless and until the physical body is totally relaxed, your consciousness cannot elevate from physical body to pranic body. So usually consciousness gets stuck when the body is not relaxed. Most of the times we are under stress, we are under anxiety, we are under fear, we are under some kind of confusion and in the midst of thoughts and emotions. If such is the case, consciousness is stuck within the body. You struggle any number of hours sitting for meditation. If you are carrying a physical body which is failing to relax, your consciousness will not jump into the next level or the pranic level. Meditation is nothing but a process where consciousness gets elevated from one body to another subtle, from gross body to subtler bodies. That is from physical body to pranic body to mental body to buddhic or intuitive to our Atma. So this elevation of consciousness is called meditation. If consciousness has to elevate, our physical body has to relax. That's why asana, sukhasana, vajrasana, padmasana, these asanas relax the physical body and allow the smooth elevation of consciousness to the next level. And once your body is in a relaxed posture, the consciousness rises to pranic body. And now, in the pranic body, it is stuck. The pranic body has to relax. When will the pranic body relax? Engage in rhythmic breathing. Breathing which is relaxed. Relaxed inhalation, relaxed exhalation. As you start breathing slowly but deeply and start taking more oxygen into your lungs and into your body, the pranic body starts relaxing. Wherever the vital energy which is flowing through the 72,000 nadis of the pranic body are stuck, there the energy is blocked. When you rhythmically keep breathing, the blockage is open. When the blockage is open, there is a smooth flow of pranic energy and the consciousness elevates from pranic body. See, this is the pranic body, which has 72,000 ultra microscopic tubules, what you call nadis, meridians. 72,000 meridians, and some 3 important nadis are there, what we call Sushumna Nadi, which raises from the Mooladhara Chakra and terminate in the Sahasrara Chakra. This Sushumna Nadi is the one which moves through the backbone, through all the vertebrae, and it reaches the Sahasrara chakra. This is the central nadi in the body. On either side, on the right side, you have one parallel nadi to Sushumna nadi, which is called Pingala. And on the left side, you have another nadi, which is vertical and parallel to Sushumna nadi, that is called as Ida. This is another image of prana sharira or pranic body. For the energy to smoothly flow, or vital energy to smoothly flow through these meridians or these nadis, your pranic body should relax. Prana sharira should relax. That relaxation happens through your rhythmic breathing. Look how complicated these meridians. They are invisible. Neither any doctor has seen this, because this is there in a subtle body called as the pranic body. It is not in the physical body. The pranic body envelops and covers the physical body. It's a very thin body which is made up of very light material when compared to our physical body, and it's very complex in nature. Whatever energy our physical body is getting is because of the pranic body. The vital energy in the pranic body reaches the physical body and keeps our body energized. If your pranic body is well energized, your physical body will also be well energized. So please understand, without relaxation of physical body, your pranic body cannot relax. First, allow your physical body to relax by adopting some asanas, apt asanas. And before getting into asanas, please start following yama and niyama in your regular day-to-day life. Yama and niyama are very simple things, what to do, what not to do. What Basavanna said, Kalabeda, Kolabeda, Husiya Nudiyelu Beda, Anyarige Asaya Padabeda, Idira Haliyelu Beda, Tanna Bannisa Beda. This is what it is. Okay, I don't want to get into the elaboration of it, because if that I go ahead, probably the time will become insufficient for me. What to do, what not to do is well known to sadhaks. Don't engage in violence. Don't steal others, what the property which belongs to others, and follow brahmacharya, and be free of krodha, kama, raga, dvesha, arishadvarga. These are the things. Unless and until you practice all these things in day-to-day life, if you sit with asana also, your body will not relax. Please remember, yama niyama are very important. They are the first few steps to be practiced before you start asana, before you start pranayama. And with pranayama, the pranic body starts relaxing. As the pranic body starts relaxing, you are done with yama, niyama, asana, pranayama. You start practicing all this. The first four limbs are connected to what you are doing in the outer world as such. And the fifth is a central limb, and a very key limb actually, what we call pratyahara. What is pratyahara? It's a precursor to meditation. Withdraw the sense organs from outer world. Taking attention off from the worldly things. When you take attention off from the worldly things, the data reaching the brain is reduced. There's hardly any data from the external world which is reaching the neocortex. So the brain starts slowing down. As the brain slows down, the chemistry of the brain, or the neurochemistry, starts changing. When neurochemistry changes, neurobiology changes. When neurobiology changes, the whole body will relax, because the body is pumped with serotonin, enkephalin, dopamine, and wonderful happiness hormones. That's why Madame Blavatsky, the founder of Theosophical Society, who wrote a great book called Secret Doctrine, once said, when the individual consciousness is turned inwards, a conjunction of manas and buddhi takes place. When your consciousness turns inwards, and when you detach yourself from your brain and lower mind, what happens is your manas will integrate with buddhi. Buddhi means dhi shakti. In your Gayatri mantra, you say Dhiyo Yonah Prachodhayat. Om Bhur Bhuvassuvaha. As you say, in the end, what do you say? Dhiyo Yonah Prachodhayat. You pray to Gayatri and you pray to the sun god, please promote and please kindle my buddhi. Buddhi means dhi shakti. Dhi means buddhi. It is not the lower buddhi, it is a higher buddhi. What is that higher buddhi? It is not intellect. Please don't confuse. Buddhi is not intellect. Buddhi in spiritual terms is intuition. Dhi Shakti is intuition. It is called Anubhava Prajna in Kannada. Anubhava Prajna unites everything. Everything. Intellect many times divides everything. Okay, so we don't want intellect. This world is too much with intellect. Too much with intellect. No, we don't want the lower buddhi. We want the higher buddhi, what we call as the intuition. So our manas will conjoin with the buddhi. And when such a thing happens, you enter into Anubhava Prajna. You enter into a mystic consciousness as such. See, Pratyahara is a precursor for meditation because it will reduce the load, cognitive load, and the data of the outer world reaching the brain becomes too less. We call it as cognitive load. That cognitive load reduces. When the cognitive load reduces, when the physical body relaxes, when the pranic body relaxes, when the intellect is silenced, the faculty of intellect is silenced, when with pratyahara, the firing in the cerebral cortex reduces, then our focus becomes sharp. Focus means ekagrata, concentration. Concentration becomes so sharp. During this time, there is a change in the brain wave pattern. Usually brain waves, when we are engaged in some intellectual work, is having a frequency between 14 to 30 hertz. That's called as the beta. In this image, you can see on the top, there is an image of beta waves. Beta waves are the waves in which we usually spend most of our time. We are awake, we are normally alert, and our consciousness is turned outwards into worldly affairs. In our normal awakened state, we are firing at a frequency of 14 to 30 hertz. The meaning is 14 to 30 waves per second. Per second. See how many waves are there. The waves are cluttered when it comes to beta. As we enter into dharana, what happens is our mode shifts from beta to alpha. The second pattern in the image. What is alpha? It is nothing but brain waves in the range of 9 to 13 hertz. That means to say the brain has slowed down. It has slowed down to a great extent or a significant extent, and the neocortex is firing with 9 waves to 13 waves per second. In this particular pattern, the body is relaxed. The mind is getting relaxed. The mind is becoming calm. Our thoughts are becoming lucid, not confused now. And more or less, the thoughts are becoming very less and almost stopping. When we reach a wavelength of 8, when we reach a wavelength of 8, we start slipping into meditation, what is called alpha meditation. This alpha meditation is a superficial meditation. We are just sinking into meditation. We are transiting from dharana to dhyana. Dharana begins with alpha. Probably from 13 hertz onwards, we are into dharana. And by the time we reach 8, we are into meditation. 8 is nothing but theta now. We are entering into theta. 8 is the gateway for theta. See the third pattern of waves. Theta waves are between 4 to 8 hertz. Per second, 4 to 8 waves are being fired by the neurons. 4 to 8 waves. Here we are under deep relaxation. That means to say we have moved away from dharana into dhyana. Deep relaxation and meditation, and still we are not totally into meditation. Totally. We are into meditation. We are deeply relaxed. We are in meditation, but still there is some amount of disturbance. Whatever is the image that you have picked up for the dhyana, it is still there in your mind. Still there in the mind. Rest, everything is not there. Cease to exist for you. Only the image that you have taken for dhyana is there. It is called as getting into meditation, getting into a kind of samadhi, but the samadhi is still sabija samadhi. Sabija samadhi means you still have some image. One particular image is there in the mind on which you are totally focused. And if you further get deep into meditation, the waves become so less. Per second, hardly you see 1 to 3 hertz. Per second, 1 to 3 waves. These are called delta. Here you are in very deep meditation. It's almost that you are into nirbija samadhi. Not even the image that is in front of you, you picked up for your meditation, is existing now. You have blended with the universe. You are very aware. Your awareness is very sharp. Don't think that you are sleeping. Your awareness is totally sharp, but thoughts have totally ceased to exist. You have completely relaxed, and your consciousness is very, very clear, and it has reached a very high level. So what happens in meditation is, dharana is getting into narrow focus. Dharana means concentration. You change your brain waves from beta to alpha. But dhyana is getting into open focus. Then what is dhyana? Dhyana is the opposite of dharana. If dharana is concentration, dhyana is deconcentration. Please don't think dhyana is concentration. No. Dharana is concentration, where your focus is narrow and single-pointed focus you carry. But in dhyana, your focus becomes open, wide open focus. That means to say your concentration is nowhere, hence it is everywhere. When your concentration is it is not in one place, it is in every place. That means to say, it becomes one with the samasti. So we move from beta waves to alpha waves to theta waves, and theta waves to delta waves. By the time we reach delta waves, we are in nirbija samadhi. What are the changes that happen in meditation? From some body, you move to nobody. That means to say we always carry that I feeling within us. Wherever I am awake, I carry that I feeling. I am is a feeling. And I equate myself with my body. I consider I am somebody. This somebody needs to be respected. This somebody needs to be honored. This somebody needs to be treated. This somebody needs to be looked after. This somebody needs to be nurtured. This somebody needs to be nourished. This somebody, that feeling is there. I feeling. Ego. I carry my ego wherever I go. Isn't it? So when you get into deep meditation, you move from that somebody feeling to nobody. You just forget your body. You don't carry that body in your meditation. That dehatma swabhava ಪರಿಪೂರ್ಣವಾಗಿ ನಿರ್ಗಮಿಸಿರುತ್ತೆ. You would have transcended your body consciousness. From somebody you become nobody. From somewhere you become, or you go to nowhere. You don't know where you are. And from linear time you get into no time. That means to say, from the dimension of space, you get into a dimension called beyond space. From dimension of time, you get into a dimension beyond time. From the dimension of body, you get into a dimension of no body. These are the changes which happen as you meditate. As our brain waves change from beta to theta, neocortex slows down. We transcend our thinking mind. Our analytical mind completely stops. There is so much of calmness, silence, serenity, stillness in our mind now. Our mind is not carrying its routine consciousness of analytical noise. It is now completely silenced. Once our thinking mind stops working, and when we transcend our thinking mind, we enter into subconscious mind. Because subconscious mind is the 95% of our mind. Whereas conscious mind or thinking mind is only 5%. This 5% thinking mind is a barrier for our meditation. We need to transcend it. Day in and day out, we rest in the thinking mind in the midst of thoughts. This 5% of the mind is an impediment for our spiritual sadhana and meditation. If you can transcend the thinking mind, you sink into subconscious mind. When you sink into subconscious mind, you are going to place your hand on your operating system. Your brain is a computer, and your computer has an OS. OS is the operating system. With this operating system, your computer called brain is working. Now what happened? You are laying your hand on the OS. The moment you reach the OS, you can wonderfully manage it. Wonderfully manage. If OS is in the hand of a computer operator, he can change the entire computer. Similarly, if you can put the hand into your OS, when you can put your hand into OS, only when you transcend your thinking mind by meditating, and as with the dharana, moving from dharana to dhyana, this happens. Now brain works holistically. Now the brain is no more analytical because you got the grip of your OS. And once you put the hand onto your OS, your analytical mind you have transcended and you are into holistic mind. Look at this image which clearly says that mind has only 5% conscious mind, or the thinking brain. The thinking brain is only 5%. It is in the apex of the triangle here. Rest 95% is subconscious and unconscious. This is what we call autonomic nervous system, or ANS in the body. ANS, autonomic nervous system. Even when I am sleeping, my heart is pumping the blood. My lungs are exhaling and inhaling. Digestion is happening. Blood is flowing. How this happens? It's because of the autonomic nervous system. It's not because of your central nervous system. It's because of the autonomic nervous system. This ANS, or autonomic nervous system, is related to your subconscious mind. And when you enter into the subconscious mind, there our deep programs, our habits, our thoughts, our emotions, our idiosyncrasies, our notions, our opinions, several of our deep-rooted attitudes, beliefs, faith, everything rests there. Our automatic behavior is from the subconscious and unconscious mind. Automatic behavior means there are deep-rooted behaviors, deep-rooted patterns of thinking. Once you enter into the subconscious mind and put a hand into it and the OS, everything starts changing. You have successfully entered into a very, very crucial area of your mind where you are able to take the control of your mind. You know very well, your mind is a poor master, but a very good servant. But most of us stay in the conscious mind, that is 5% mind in the top. So we have allowed the mind to master us. So we behave the way our mind says. Once you make a way into subconscious mind, 95% of the mind, then mind becomes a servant. Rather, you get a control or a hold on the mind. Mind becomes a servant, and a very good servant. Very good servant. Then a lot of things starts changing. What all things start changing? As you start meditating, and as meditation becomes your regular practice, what happens is a lot of changes you can see in your day-to-day life. Your anxiety reduces, your stress level reduces, your blood pressure reduces, your pulse rate reduces. Your body is flooded with serotonin, enkephalin, dopamine, and some wonderful hormones, what you call oxytocin. Okay. Otherwise, when you are in the conscious mind, the way we live day in and day out in the midst of stress and anxiety, our body is flooded with adrenaline, noradrenaline, and cortisol or corticosteroids. Corticosteroids. These are anxiety hormones. These are stress hormones. These create a lot of stress in our body. And the byproducts of these hormones are very dangerous to the body. And most of the times we people live with this anxiety, fear and all. And the blood chemistry is totally harmful. Totally harmful under the stress, because these hormones get collected. Stress hormones get collected. Corticosteroids get collected. Their levels increase in the blood. Rather, with meditation, you sink inside into your subconscious mind. There is calmness, there is serenity, and you're totally relaxed. You are enjoying that stillness which is there inside. And as this happens, your blood chemistry, neurochemistry, your behavior, your attitude, everything changes. Because, see, please remember, our body is ultimately one biochemical engine. It's a biochemical engine. Changes in biochemistry result in changes in behavior. Every behavior has a biochemical reason behind it. Okay, this is called as behaviorism, a wonderful theory which was proposed by Skinner. Skinner was a great psychologist who came out with a theory called behaviorism theory. According to behaviorism theory, every behavior of yours is presented by one biochemical substance, which is there in the body. Okay, as biochemistry, neurochemistry, hematochemistry all starts changing, your chakras start getting vitalized. Mooladhara, Swadhisthana, Manipura, Anahata, Vishuddha, Agna and Sahasrara. These are the 7 chakras that we usually come across, but there are hundreds of chakras in our body. Many chakras are unimportant and we are not bothered about them. The primary 7 chakras are Mooladhara, Swadhisthana, Manipura, Anahata, Vishuddha, Agna, Sahasrara. I have given 2 other chakras. Talu. Talu is a chakra which is there on the tongue. And Nirvana. Nirvana chakra is just above the Agna chakra and below the Sahasrara chakra. These are described in some of the books, but if you know 7 chakras, it's more than enough. If you can see this image, the chakras are connected through the Sushumna Nadi. Sushumna Nadi raises from the Mooladhara chakra. Mooladhara chakra is just below the backbone. Where the backbone ends, it is in that particular place. The lower end of the backbone, there is Mooladhara chakra, and above that is Swadhisthana. That is the second chakra. The third chakra is your Manipura, otherwise called Nabhi chakra. And the fourth chakra is Hrudaya chakra, otherwise called Anahata chakra. The fifth chakra is the thyroid chakra, which is also called as Vishuddha chakra. And the sixth is the Agna chakra in the middle of the eyebrows, in between the eyebrows in the midst. And the seventh chakra is the Sahasrara, which is on the top of the skull. And your Pingala Nadi is on the right side, vertically parallel to the Sushumna. And Ida Nadi is on the left side and parallel to the Sushumna Nadi. This is the image. Here you can see the chakras. Root chakra is Mooladhara chakra. Swadhisthana is called sacral chakra. And Manipura is called solar plexus chakra. And heart chakra is Anahata. Throat chakra is Vishuddha. Third eye chakra is Agna. And the crown chakra is Sahasrara. So these chakras are nothing but the energy spindles or bundles. They are associated with multiple glands. If you carefully see here, your basal chakras, the 3 lower chakras are called basal chakras. Which are the 3 basal chakras? Mooladhara, Swadhisthana, Manipura. They are associated with survival. As long as we live in the survival mode, only these three energy centers are working. And that too, they are working only for the purpose of survival. The energy is not actually creative energy. It is the energy which is required for just survival. It's a fight or flight related chakras. If you carefully see here, Mooladhara is associated with sexual glands. That is procreation. And your Swadhisthana is related with digestion and pancreatic glands. And your Manipura is related with adrenal glands, which produce your adrenaline, noradrenaline, and corticosteroids. Because these are the glands and these are the plexus. Plexus means neural networks, neural or nerve networks they are. These neural networks and these glands are associated with the basal chakras, and basal chakras work only for the survival. They do not work more than that. And right now our energy is completely blocked in the lower 3 chakras. Our energy has not raised to the thymus gland or the heart chakra. Heart chakra is the middle chakra. And this chakra is the connecting chakra between the basal chakras and the crown chakras. The crown chakras are your Vishuddha, Agna and Sahasrara. And your heart chakra is in the middle. It's a connecting bridge between the basal chakras and the top 3 chakras as such. Unless and until the energy, the creative energy from the Mooladhara chakra, what you call Kundalini Shakti. Kundalini Shakti is dormant in the Mooladhara chakra in the serpent, in the form of a serpent. If this energy is kindled and if this energy is instigated through your sadhana, not Hatha Yoga, the normal sadhana. Okay, don't get into Hatha Yoga and don't get into Vama Marga. Get into the normal spiritual sadhana which is prescribed, that is regular meditation and right living, high thinking. With this kind of life, you can raise the energy through the basal chakra to the Sahasrara chakra. And as the energy flows through all the chakras get energized. They get invigorated and they start working with a harmonious energy, and the alignment becomes perfect between the chakras. And as the energy raises through all the chakras, step by step, worked on their internal chakras. And as the energy raises through all the chakras and reaches the Sahasrara, one energy results in enlightenment. Because what happens then is the person gets, in Greek philosophy, Ka is a chakra which Egyptians knew. Wherever you move, Ka chakra is moving with you. What energy flows out of the Sahasrara chakra, the Ka gets activated. And when the Ka gets, and the creative energy in the body raises step by sequence, the vibration changes. Operating with, as it vibrates with high spiritual energies. Look in the first image and look at the aura in the second image. In the second image, what you see is the aura that we usually carry. It is an aura which is distorted. There is a diminished light field there. It is not having the normal, light as such, intensity of light. Whereas look at the aura of a sadhak. Aura of a sadhak is so uniform and so lit, so well lit. And this happens as you become a serious meditator. And what enables all this? All this is enabled by right way of living, right way of thinking, and right behavior and practices. That's what is sadhana all about. That's why Patanjali said, Yama, Niyama, Asana, Pranayama, Pratyahara, Dharana, Dhyana, Samadhi. And as Kundalini arises, and as it moves from basal chakra to Sahasrara chakra, individual consciousness merges into the universal consciousness. Drop becomes the ocean, and man becomes the divine. This is something which should not be forced upon by us. You should not forcefully try to raise the Kundalini energy. It should happen on its own, and it should happen slowly. How a fruit ripens and falls down, that is the way sadhana should take place over a long period of time, and then the drop should become the ocean. So, with this, what happens is you become a presence. You are no more a body. You are no more a prana. You are no more a jiva. You become a mere presence. When you become a mere presence, you experience the truth within. you realize you are nothing but Atma, which is a spark of Paramatma. And that's how you realize the truth within. And when this happens, sugar doll sinks into the sea. You know the story of Ramakrishna Paramahamsa. When the sugar doll comes to an ocean after a long journey, it is scared. What is this mass of water? I have never seen something like this. And then the ocean says, come in. Sugar doll asks, who are you? And the ocean says, I am ocean, please come in. And sugar doll reluctantly enters into the ocean. And as it enters into the ocean, the sugar starts dissolving in the ocean water. And slowly it realizes it is, no, sorry, it's not sugar doll, it's salt doll. I'm sorry, it's salt doll. The salt, as it dissolves in the ocean, it realizes it's nothing but the ocean. Then Dvaita becomes Advaita. And in the state of Advaita, all the problems are resolved automatically because you realize you are the Advaita. You realize that you are the Atma and you are the Paramatma. I am ending my satsang today with insightful words of Khalil Gibran. Chinese and Syrians call as Khalil Gibran, but Americans call him as Khalil Gibran. A great philosopher, a great poet, a great thinker. This Khalil says, they say before entering the sea, most of the people say, when a river has to enter the sea, she looks back at the way that she has traveled and sees in front of her such a wall. That entering it means to disappear forever. It understands if I enter into this ocean, I disappear. I lose my individuality. But there is no other way. It has traveled a long distance to reach the ocean. After reaching the ocean, it cannot turn back. The river can't go back. It cannot flow back. The river needs to take the risk and to enter the ocean. It is only while entering into the ocean that the fear will disappear. Till then, it carries the fear. It carries the fear that it's going to lose that individuality or ego. It's going to lose its ego. To lose the ego, it is scared. But as it enters into the ocean, it's only then that the river will know it's not about disappearing into the ocean, but of becoming the ocean. Only after entering into the ocean, it realizes it's not disappearing into the ocean, it's becoming an ocean, becoming the ocean. That means to say Dvaita becomes Advaita. So wonderfully worded by Khalil Gibran, and it succinctly gives you the meaning of enlightenment. And an enlightened soul is the soul who has realized the truth within. When the truth within is realized, you fail to create or add on to any problems in the world. You become a problem solver. You solve the problems. You don't contribute anymore to the problems. And when such a thing happens, and when each one of us change like that, probably the world becomes a peaceful place and the world becomes a serene place to live. So realizing truth within is nothing but sadhana, which ultimately results in samasti prajna, which can solve all the problems. Thank you very much for keen listening and cooperation.